Welcome, my love light lighters. Welcome, my love light lifer. Welcome, my love light lifers. Today, we're talking about repeating numbers. And the repeating number in specific we're talking about today is the number 0000. What does it mean? And why does it mean that? How is it that repeating numbers work? Should I really be looking at repeating numbers as some sort of synchronicity to help me in my manifestations? Should I, or have I gone insane? We're going to find out in just a minute. Welcome. I'd like to say thank you to all my subscribers and all of my new peeps who have just turned up. And if you are enjoying this content, don't forget to like, subscribe, share, hit the bell, do all of that wonderful stuff. And now we're going to get into the repeating number 0000. If you want to know a little bit more about what this number means, you're best at going and looking at a video. I suggest Minxdiva has a really great one on the quadruple numbers, and 0000 is one of those numbers that she has on her channel, because we're not going to go in depth on what it means, but we are going to find out if even looking the number up is beneficial at all. Before we start to go into what does it mean, how can it possibly have a meaning, and why would it be showing up at specific times so that we could get some sort of benefit from it as a synchronistic number? Why are people saying, hey, I just saw 1111 and I just saw 000 and I just saw this number and that number? And why are people getting excited about it? And are they just a little bit airy-fairy and crazy, or is there something really to it? If you are a advocate for the law of attraction and you have a little bit of knowledge about vibrational matching, you'll start to understand that what's going on in your life is basically a vibrational match to what's going on inside you. So all of your thoughts and feelings basically make a landscape, and if you project that landscape outwards, you'll start to see that it's almost an exact match to what's going on inside you. Not exact as in it fits perfectly, it looks exactly the same like a mirror, but more in the sense of if you've ever had a dream and you've woken up from the dream and it's been painfully obvious what you were dreaming about and what feeling the dream gave you and why you would be having that dream right now, having a dream that you were tied up when you're feeling extremely trapped in your waking life. It's a no-brainer as to why you would be having a dream like that at a time when you're feeling that way. And even though dreams are a very different type of reality that we experience, it is exactly the same way that we are drawing our experiences into us in a physical environment, in a waking environment. The thing is, it's just a little bit slower in coming, so we don't always see the way that they relate to one another. But numbers are one of those things, and yet it seems to be a bit cryptic. Like, why should I have to go to a YouTube video to tell me what this number is? Because it keeps showing up in my life, and apparently somebody said that repeating numbers have meanings and that it might actually mean something. And so when we're manifesting, can often help us to see what vibrations we're putting out there and what we're getting back. And at a very base level, at a very general level, we can see that via things like numbers, because they're not as emotionally charged or objective or subjective. In that how numbers are viewed is pretty across the board, across the entire world almost. In other words, there is a huge amount of human consciousness that focuses on numbers in almost exactly the same way. So when we're talking about a number like 0, why it would mean things like oneness and wholeness and the beginning or end of a cycle, or a match, or a feeling of being one with your creator. Why would those things be symbolized or be reflected back to us when we're feeling any of these things? So what that means is that if we were to have a look at the way that we see the number 0, first of all, it's really a case of the dream about being tied up, in that we're looking at a circle for number 1. And the circle to us means certain things because of the way that we use the circle. The circle has no beginning and no end. So even though we use it to symbolize the beginning and the end of a cycle, it is that point where if you're seeing 9s, you might be experiencing an ending that hasn't quite ended. And if you're experiencing the 1s, you might be experiencing a beginning. But the 0 point is that point where you see the snake eating its own tail. Well, the tail is in the mouth and the mouth is on the tail, and it's the same part of the circle. So it's an ending and a beginning at the same time, and it sort of merges together. So it's very symbolic of that. On top of which, we also use a circle to symbolize wholeness. So, for example, a pie chart. I know it's very simple, but it's a very basic concept that forgoes even language, that we can tell that if you draw a circle and you draw a line down the circle, that what we're talking about is this is one half and this is the other half. We also have the yin-yang symbol, which is basically showing us the same thing. If we start cutting the pie into several different pieces, then we start to see the different allocations that you might be looking at to symbolize different parts of the whole. And so one circle is 100%. And even though this is not something that we think about every time we see a circle or every time we see the number 0, it's locked in our subconscious. It's so evident to a human being. It's just what we like to call common sense. So it's really easy for us to draw those conclusions even when we're not aware of it. At the very base of us, we get it. Oneness, in other words, there is one circle, is the whole. The whole is one. Even though we're talking about a 0, the 0 is actually whole. It's one. It is basically the largest number that exists. We think of it as the smallest number that exists because we think it's representing nothing. However, to get any other number other than 0, you have to take away. And what I mean by that is something that they use in physics when they started to really try to understand the number 0, because it acts different to other numbers, is that 0 is basically any number that you have 1 or 100 or minus 100. You have to take something away from 0 to get that. So to get 100, you have to take negative 100 away from 0 and you'll get 100. If you want 78, you have to take negative 78. If you want negative 1,000,000, then you have to take 1,000,000 away from 0. 0 essentially can act as the whole, as the one. And so it's a different way of looking at 0. So that is why we can look at a number and resonate exactly with it, and why it might be drawn to us at that particular time in our life. Thanks so much for being here with me. I will see you tomorrow. Remember, like, share, subscribe. See you then.